Welcome to Kiss the Reviews. I'm Armando. That's Corey. And today we're doing 1999's The Mummy.
I would love for this to get a friggin' re-release. Just jumping to the end. I would love for this to be re-released in theaters just to see what it looks like now.
Oh, absolutely.
On the big screen. Oh, it'd be so good.
Absolutely. And before we get into the plot and everything, if you would like to reach out to Corey or me on Twitter, you can reach out to me at Junior D's. You can reach out to Corey at Idle Poncho. Let's get into the cast and crew of, well, not the crew. Screw the crew. We're just going to get into the cast of The Mummy.
Yeah, take that, unsung heroes.
So this movie stars Brendan Fraser as Rick O'Connell, Rachel Weisz as Evelyn Carnahan, John Hannah as Jonathan Carnahan, and Arnold Vosloo as Imhotep.
All of my problems with this movie, in all honesty, are at the very beginning. Where you get the narration and you're getting the setup and you get taken back to ancient Egypt.
Yes.
And thieves and pyramids and the Sphinx and Seti the King. And your timeline is all fucked up. Like, it's Avengers Endgame all fucked up. What the hell?
Well,
first off, we're just going to get this out of the way so we're not that show, okay? Pyramids weren't in Thebes, didn't exist. They were east of the Nile. That's where the kings lived. Not there. So they were tombs for the kings. They weren't in Thebes. The Sphinx was already fucking built by the time Seti was king. So they wouldn't be like giving it a fucking paint job like it's a goddamn Statue of Liberty. That wasn't a thing. And
they were just doing a resurfacing. That's all they were doing.
Yeah, okay, fair enough. Fair enough. And Imhotep's side piece here, Amun-Ra, is that her name?
I'm only be in this movie for about 20 minutes.
I'm gonna not make it out of the opening credits. Yeah, she was actually most famous. She's a real life person, just like Seti was. But she was most famous for being King Tut's sister wife.
Oh.
I mean, if you want to put an asterisk on it, half sister wife, but those aren't things we shouldn't be getting into semantic arguments over. That's just
cool.
Sister cuts.
Cool. Next on Pornhub, we'll be discussing sister wives.
Ancient Egyptian porn, set to the soundtrack of the bands.
Walk like an Egyptian.
And the one problem I had, because I don't read, so you got into details. I was like, okay, backstory's fine.
Mm-hmm.
You know, it opens up in Egypt, circa 2090 BC, goes into the story of, Imhotep, there's an affair with Seti's mistress, yada, yada, yada. This takes up almost a full half hour of the movie.
It's long.
I mean, maybe not that long, but it's at least 20 minutes.
For what we paid to see, it's long. And I get it. You got to set it up and you're introducing a whole new audience to the world of Imhotep the Mummy, who was, I think, the original mummy. Like, that was who that was. So I get it. But also, come on, man.
Yeah, exactly. I mean,
just come on. One, you missed a moment to teach people shit, and two, you didn't get to the goods, which is Brendan Fraser right there.
I don't know what it cost in '99, $3.50. I paid my $3.50 of my hard-earned money from the bowling alley or wherever I was working to see Brendan Fraser's jacked ass at the time on camera. I don't know, killing mummies and doing shit. Like, that's what I wanted to see Brendan Fraser as Indiana Jones in this film, and you wasted 20 minutes of my time.
Yep. You got to get to that great ass!
Great ass!
Listen, 5 minutes. You got 5 minutes to give me the backstory and then into the movie. But
100%. Well, and do it like they do in Red Dawn. We say this a million times. Do it like they do in Red Dawn. Throw it up there with words. That way you don't have to fuck up the education that you're leading kids down the wrong road. Like, some poor fucking kid's like, I'm going to be an archaeologist one day. Showed up in Thebes, dug for years, never found a pyramid.
Who said they're going to be an archaeologist after they saw this movie?
No, nobody. Nobody.
We get through the whole story of Imhotep and, you know, his love, not going to be in this movie for very long. It fast forwards to 1923. Soldiers from the French Foreign Legion, led by Rick O'Connell. Brendan Fraser finally gets some screen time. And
they're led by Rick O'Connell after their actual lieutenant just pieces the fuck out.
Yes, exactly.
You have the Magi charging, and that dude's just said deuces. Yeah. I ain't fucking doing it. And you know what? I salute you, sir. You know who you are, and you stuck to your guns. Not literally, you dropped that like a fucking hotcake. But boy, did you stuck to your cowardice. And I salute that.
Hey, you know what? He's still alive later. So he made the right move. They get through this whole massacre with the Magi warriors. Soldiers are massacred. O'Connell makes a final retreat into the city. He's cornered by a group of the warriors, but they scatter when Imhotep's evil presence comes out, manifests itself.
They see a cat statue.
Yes.
He backs himself into a cat statue, and these hardened warriors set to protect the city see the statue of a cat who, by the way, had nothing to do with fucking death. Nothing to do with death. But that's fine. Whatever. They shit their pants and take off, and he's like, oh, statue, and then there's a whisper in the winds.
Fast forward 3 years later, Evelyn is given a box and a map by her drunk brother, Jonathan. She believes it's a map to the lost city. Dr. Bay then accidentally, quote unquote, accidentally damages the map as he dismisses all the myths because presumably he's a moron. Jonathan then reveals that he stole the map from Rick, who is currently in prison. So they go to find out more info from Rick. He tells them that he knows where the city is and that he's been there.
This is a part too where I really like Rachel Weisz's character because they set her up to kind of be like, I'm brainy, but I'm a klutz, and I'm bumbling around the library, and I wreck everything. But this is what makes, in my opinion, a strong woman. She didn't ask permission to go. She didn't, she heard the word no, and she just went like, oh, okay, and then moped off. She didn't go fucking marching, asking the government to give her a fucking list of things. She just did it.
Yeah.
She just went out and did it. And she proved to everybody else that she was better than them. That's what you got to do 9 times out of 10 in life. No matter who you are, let alone if you are a woman or a minority in this world.
Yes. And I just liked her character throughout. Even though she's portrayed as like kind of a klutzy, but like your motor skills don't have anything to do with your mind and how smart you are. I know, right? But she's incredibly smart throughout this whole thing. But I really liked her character throughout.
Yeah, and what I also like too is she was klutzy in comedic moments, but not when it counted.
Yes.
Like when they're racing to the city. She's on that camel hauling fucking balls. She doesn't care. Well, when it's time to run away from the mummy, she's running her ass off. She doesn't trip and fall and cause everybody else to die.
Exactly. Well, and that's honestly that type of character who's klutzy in comedic moments, but smart and brave and whatever when it counts is typically held for a male character in the film.
Oh yeah, that's like your Benny or Jonathan in this.
Yeah, exactly. So I like that they did that with her here. So Rick here tells Evelyn that he'll show her where the city is if she saves him from being hanged. Yep. And she negotiates his release with the warden there. After, a bit of comedy where Rick is hanged, but his neck doesn't break. So she makes the deal as he strangles to death. I know this is supposed to be like a comedic moment, but this is one of the pieces where I was like, you couldn't have written something different here. It just, I don't know. For me, it was just like,
It snaps.
Yes.
I don't know if you've ever seen one of them hangings, but the shit snapped like it's supposed to. Like, his neck broke, dude.
Yes.
Yeah.
And
I didn't
and
like
I
that.
don't
I wish
know.
there was a different way they could have gone about it.
Yeah.
I can't write anything better than it, though, so whatever. You win.
You know what? Fair point. Let's move on. The warden here insists on coming along in order to protect his investment. They board the ship and they start their expedition.
Yes.
They run into a crew of American treasure hunters led by Dr. Alan Chamberlain and guided by Benny, who had retreated earlier in the movie.
And this is where we start to see a little bit of what I feel was, and it's not necessarily his fault. I think this was more the director and them trying to appeal a little more towards kids. But this is when Brendan Fraser's comedy faux pas start to show. Yeah. Because he's like, my buddy Benny. Jesus fuck Christ. Alliteration alone is bad enough in that situation, but your fucking smile and holding it for... There's no applause track in this. Nobody has the laugh line already set. So that's... When he does that shit, it drives me fucking crazy.
It does for me too. But goddamn, what a face on that guy. So,
handsome son of a
bitch. So during the trip, the boat's invaded by the Medjay soldiers who are looking for Evelyn's box and the map.
The way it's portrayed in this movie, everyone is looking for Evelyn's box.
Yeah.
She's sexually harassed constantly.
Throughout this movie. So, so Evelyn's box and the map is what they're looking for. And they manage to fight them off on the ship, but the map's lost and the boat goes up in flames.
They managed to fight them off by burning down the boat. No regard for anything or anyone else. It's just, we're in trouble. Light the shit on fire. Let's jump. By the way, if I'm correct, you are probably somewhere along the Nile, getting close to it. You're in a river in Africa. We're going to put it like that.
Yes.
Motherfucker, you got hippos in that bitch. You got crocodiles. You're like, can you swim? That shouldn't be your concern.
Okay, so I'm going to throw this out there. I just moved to Florida. There's fucking lizards everywhere. Those things might as well be T-Rexes. I'm not swimming there. I'm just like, you know what? I'm going to rock this ship until it all burns.
Bitch, I'm going to look like Roy Schreider at the end of Jaws. Just riding that mast all the way down.
Rick, Evelyn, and Jonathan are separated from the other treasure hunters. They're on opposite sides of the river, and they go and get camels for the trek because all the other guys got all the horses. They all get to the city at the same time, and they start exploring the city together. Both groups are then attacked by the Medjay warriors. I'm going to say this word, by the way, Medjay, different every single time. At one point, I'll pronounce it properly.
That's the only way you can really cover your bases. So,
yeah. So,
I like your strategy.
It's a bold strategy, Cotton. Let's see if it pays off for them.
So both groups are attacked by the Medjay warriors, and Bay, who's the leader of the warriors, warns that there's evil buried in the city. He gives them 1 day to leave.
Yeah, I'm going to go ahead and tell you, he's shit at his job.
Yes.
Straight up, he's really bad at his job.
Yes. You know what, though? He looks cool as shit.
Oh, he looks dope as F, dude. If shit goes down, that's exactly how I'm going to look. You're not going to know what's coming.
Yeah.
But, yeah, I mean, he lets Brendan Fraser grow at the beginning. He's like, let the desert claim him. No, that didn't work.
Yep.
And we said this about Ice Cube teaching you a valuable lesson at the end of Boys in the Hood. Like, finish your food. If you're going to start a meal, finish it. He should have learned that. Because he never does it. He does a half-assed job, and then he's just like, let that other one go. Why? Because I want to kill more people, but then not kill more people so they can go and bring more people back.
Yes.
Shit ain't your job. You're lucky that's a union job. It's the only reason you're held on.
But I'll say this. He's got the NFL football eye black, but it's in Egyptian script. I don't know if you could buy that on like Amazon, but I want to order some of that because that looked cool as hell.
I think if you, fair warning, you order that shit, the NSA might deliver it. You know what I'm saying?
Both of the two groups basically ignore Bay's orders. They continue to explore and work and whatever.
This is why you don't give white people this kind of opportunity. Because they're just like, oh, that's more of like a general guideline, not a strict rule.
Exactly. So they open the sarcophagus. They see the remains of Imhotep. The team of Americans during this open the chest. They discover the Black Book of the Dead, including the jars carrying I'm not going to be in this movie for a while, and her preserved organs. Each of the Americans takes a jar, and Dr. Chamberlain takes the book.
You know, a jar of organs. Let's divvy it up, one each. Here's a tummy for you. Here's a liver for me. You get the intestines. We don't give a fuck about you, Four Eyes. Take the intestines.
I guess this did transport you back to the 20s or 30s because who says tummy?
Everybody says tum-tum.
But, the Americans were like, man, hell, it's made out of gold. Took our jobs. Like, yeah, we're going to go ahead and take these jars and... Cool. So they take the jars, and immediately they get the first plague, which is the swarm of locusts that invades the camp, forces everyone inside the city. Then a huge army of scarabs breaks loose. They start eating people in their path. One of the Americans then gets lost, and he loses his glasses and pulls like the Velma from Scooby-Doo, where I'm completely blind.
Hey, my glasses! I can't see without them. They should be around here somewhere.
Dude, I feel so bad for this actor. Because this guy, he had that nice all-American jawline. He had the Kennedy part. The boy's regular, you can get. He's got a good build to him. He was ready to set Hollywood ablaze.
He was.
Guest starring role in Brendan Fraser's movie. He has to walk around like this, and then like this the rest of the time. Because they took his tongue. You poor fucker. They raw dogged you.
Hey, he got a SAG card for that, so whatever.
He did, and then the month later, couldn't pay his dues.
A month later? Welcome to Pornhub. I lost my glasses.
Okay, so in this scene, you're King Tut. That's a Noxunaman. You ready?
He's attacked by Imhotep, who takes his eyes and his tongue, and Imhotep starts to partially regenerate his body. Evelyn then also runs into Imhotep, and he seems to recognize her as his lost love.
Which, they don't look alike. Well, and this goes to further show the sexual harassment of Evie in this movie, because even the fucking zombies are like, oh, you're mine. Jesus Christ, dude. Wait till you grow a dick back before you worry about that.
Dude,
you're jumping to the end of the script.
The zombies in this movie are horny as hell throughout the whole movie. Like, bro, calm down.
Yeah.
It's nasty. No ED pills, no nothing. They're just like rubbing their bony pelvis against you, apparently. So Rick shows up here, shoots him with the shotgun. They go away. They get away.
I love that scene, too. By the way, I'm a sucker in a movie when the scary thing goes, rah! And then the hero goes, rah! Screaming back at it and shoots.
Yeah.
Fucking love that. I'm such a sucker for that shit.
Yeah, I did like that scene, too. I did. And he does it a few times throughout this movie.
Yes.
And most of the time,
each one's great.
It's all the time it's great. Most of the time, doesn't work. But I still like it nonetheless.
Yep.
They all leave the city here until they can figure out a way to kill Imhotep. Benny stays behind and runs into Imhotep, but talks him into keeping him alive and is allowed to become his slave.
Such a great scene, too.
It's a great scene. Benny's a great character, but god damn it, Benny is so infuriating.
Yes.
throughout this whole movie, which makes it a great character. But every time he hits the camera and he's like in the shot, I'm like, this son of a bitch.
Yeah, Brendan Fraser needed to end Benny like an hour ago.
Exactly.
Like as soon as they ended the intro and they're like, oh, we're in the desert now. And he's like, looks like you're in charge now, O'Connell. He should have just taken out the gun and shot him. And then so many of his problems are solved. Exactly.
And if he didn't then, he should have on the boat. Rick and the Americans plan to leave Egypt. But Evie decides to stay, saying that, you know, the curse was their fault, so they have responsibility to stop him and all that. But that afternoon, the next plague comes. Water turning into blood, signaling that Imhotep is close.
Look, I can say a lot about Christianity, but at least Jesus turned that shit into wine. You know what I'm saying? He wasn't a dickhead.
Imhotep goes after the 4 men who took the book and the jars. He continues to slowly regenerate, kills the Americans. Rick tries to kill Imhotep, but he is invulnerable to ordinary weapons. Only a cat can scare him enough to turn him to dust and leave. I think I have to continue to say I love this movie, but goddamn, you put a cat in his face and he turns to dust and he blows out the door. Stop it! Just stop it with that shit.
And I think, damn, this is like maybe a record for us. First PSA of the show. Hey kids, Uncle Corey here. If you're ever faced with a mummy, don't put a cat in its fucking face because it won't work.
Imhotep then kills Dr. Chamberlain in the streets, takes the black book back, and releases the swarm of flies.
And that sexist prick deserved it. First off, I encourage reading. Don't fall in love with your books, though. This motherfucker's holding that book like he's going to try and marry it next week.
Yeah.
Like he's had relations with that book.
You can love your books, but just don't love your books.
I mean, dude, let it go. Listen to what Elsa had to say, bro. Let that shit go.
But the group then goes to Dr. Bay at the museum because he might have some answers. Dr. Bay and Ardith Bay are together. Dr. Bay reveals that he's a member of secret society, sworn to prevent Imhotep's resurrection and all that. Yep. So he thinks that Imhotep intends to resurrect Anaxinuman using Evie's body to regenerate it. Yep. Evie figures that if the Black Book of the Dead brought Imhotep back to life, the Gold Book of Amun-Ra can kill him.
Yep.
So then they start going after and looking for that book. That's when Imhotep shows up, and he's now fully regenerated. He offers Evie to come with him in exchange for the lives of Rick and all the other people.
Yeah, and I would like to point out, if you didn't spend so much time on the intro, you don't have to have this whole Imhotep scene where he's regenerating and just kicking ass through fucking Cairo or wherever they're chilling right now.
Yes.
Take 5 minutes. You could have had it actually be a slower burn and earn the fucking fear of what he's doing to people instead of just like, oh, there's a shriveled body and he's more of a person now.
Yeah.
That whole thing took 5 minutes and it just felt so fucking rushed.
Yeah. No, completely agree. Completely
and this
agree.
is why I also am a big fan of, in times of crisis, separate. If you weren't all together, it wouldn't take 5 fucking minutes to clean this up. It took you presumably a while to get back from the city of the dead. You could have developed a plan there and been like, okay, 2 by 2. You two go here, you two go there. The jars are going to go here. This is going there. You could have planned a whole fucking thing out before you even got back to the hotel to get the rest of your shit.
Yep.
But no, you want to stick together because it's safe in numbers.
It's a bold strategy, Cotton. Let's see if it pays off for them.
Oh, one last thing. I do have to say this. As far as their plan to stick together, why didn't the Americans just go back to America? We don't let Egyptians in this country anymore. They would have been totally safe.
They got their jars. They were good to go.
They came up through Mexico, damn it!
The Egyptians, they took our jobs, and we took their jars. So we're good to go. But he comes back. She agrees to go with him. He goes back on his word. And now you have the whole crew of people that are now Imhotep zombies going in and attacking. So Rick, Jonathan, and Ardith here get to the city, and now we have mummy priests that they have to fight on their way to the statue of Horus and the gold book. Ardith then sacrifices himself to allow Rick and Jonathan to escape. Imhotep has now resurrected the mummified remains of his love and is preparing to sacrifice Evie here. That's when Rick and Jonathan show up. Rick frees Evie from the group of mummies, while Jonathan basically tries to ineptly read out of the book, which Jonathan, at this point in the movie, Jonathan seems like, hey, I'm a smart, well-educated dude, like almost as smart as Evie. I just tend to like to party and drink and shit. And then when we get to this point, it's just like, no, you're just a moron.
Yeah, I was going to say, throughout this whole movie, he's a fuck up.
Yes.
And should not have been included on this journey. The entire redeeming arc of his is to say 3 lines in a fucking book at the end.
Yes.
To change the army of the dead around so they are at his command now. Yes. I'm surprised he still didn't just fuck that up, too. I hated his character. Hated it. Because he wasn't redeemable. And he wasn't a lovable enough of a fuck up for me to be like, oh, that's okay. Like, Uncle Buck is a lovable fuck up.
How nice of you to notice.
He's just a guy trying really hard, and he can't seem to get that grip.
Yeah.
Jonathan has his hand on the grip. He had every fucking advantage, and he's just swilling it away.
No,
with,
he's...
I'm a sad white guy. White man's burden.
So he fucks it up here. He summons the soldiers, the group of mummified guards here, who go after Rick, while Evie is attacked by the resurrected Anaxunamon. Jonathan then finishes the inscription, and now he has control of the guards. So just before they kill Rick, he commands the guards to kill Anaxunamon. And Imhotep then goes after Rick, while Jonathan and Evelyn succeed in opening the book of Amun-Ra. Imhotep is about to kill Rick when Evie recites the counter curse. Imhotep's soul is then taken from him. He becomes mortal, and Rick finally stabs him, and he dies. Benny, who was secretly dragging treasure outside, accidentally sets off that booby trap, which starts the whole fucking domino. Rick, Evie, Jonathan race to get out. Jonathan, again, fucks it up, accidentally drops the gold book. Benny stays behind and is trapped and eaten by the swarm of scarabs. Rick, Evie, and Jonathan escape before, the city disappears and gets demolished into the sand. Mm-hmm. Ardith, who we thought was dead, unexpectedly survives, waits for them outside, thanks them for their help. Cool, you did my job for me. Get out of here, you crazy kids. And then they ride off in the sunset on a pair of camels, and they have Benny's treasure on one of the sacks that's on the camels.
All's well that ends well.
All's well that ends well. We finally get, Rick and Evelyn are going to hook up, and yay, and all that.
Dude.
So.
This is one of the things that always kind of bugs me in these movies, whether it's Indiana Jones, The Mummy, any of these adventure movies where you have, the female male leads ready to hook up at the end. You've been fighting. You've been running. You haven't taken a drink of water. I didn't see a fucking toothbrush in this movie.
No, nobody showered.
Dude, that shit is nasty.
Yes.
In real life, that's never going to happen. Like, it's almost like in the scary movies when they're always like, oh, we're camping, let's fuck. That doesn't happen. If you've ever been camping, there's fucking mosquitoes everywhere. The last thing you want is your bare ass out in the fucking woods. Are you crazy? Fuck out of here.
But it's the same thing with any movie on a beach. Okay.
Oh, exactly.
Sand gets into every crevice. Nobody's comfortable in that situation. So
Yeah.
not a thing.
No.
But yeah, no,
they're-
they gotta stink to high hell at the end of this movie.
Yeah, let's just take a break. You ride your camel, I'm gonna ride my camel. All the camels didn't fall in that dirt. We can take it. We can separate until we get some proper hygiene restored. Even for 1923 standards, that's fine.
Yes, exactly.
Yeah. Not a fan of that. Not a fan of that look at the end of a movie.
No, but I will say this. I am like, whether it's Indiana Jones and I know I've said this in the past with some of these like action type movies. I'm not a fan of the romantic storyline. In the just give me the action. Like, I get it. You're trying to attract different crowds and different people. Just give me the action and I'm happy with that. But I actually like the way they did it.
Well, yeah, they did this more like. Give me a second. They did this more like Raiders of the Lost Ark than they did Temple of Doom.
Yes.
Because Karen Allen was never really a damsel in distress in Raiders of the Lost Ark. She helped along the way. She was a pivotal piece of that journey.
Yep.
Just like Rachel Weisz was in this movie.
Yes.
Whereas Kate Capshaw in Temple of Doom, she was just there for the screams and to be saved. She really didn't do anything to further the story along. Which is why, like I was going to say, that's why I don't mind it when they do it like this.
Yeah.
If you're just thrown in to be, I need rescued, I'm done.
Yeah.
I'm bored with that. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
But yeah. So they did it they did it very well in this movie.
Agreed.
And there's nothing, even all the miscues with the historical accuracy, that's kind of just me fucking around. I don't really expect a movie like this to be like, let's educate too, because you're not taking any of that away. That's crazy. I think they really did a great job with this movie overall. It's so much better than anything that followed.
Yeah.
Whether it's the effects, the script, anything that followed was a cash grab. I'm totally cool with that. Make your money, everybody. Everybody needs work. Even people in Hollywood. Get your money. I just like everything went downhill after this movie.
Yeah.
In this series. Effects wise, across the board.
Bang for your buck. This movie by far is the best movie out of the bunch.
Oh yeah, I had a good time watching it. I laughed out loud a few times. I could really kind of get behind the characters. Rachel Weisz was probably the best one.
I'd agree with that.
Mean, I think that's a fair thing to say because she's had by far the best career of anyone else that was in this movie. But yeah, it's a good, fun movie. You can watch it with kids if you have kids. But
gross.
Yeah, that's so gross. But yeah, I mean, it's just a good all-around movie. It absolutely still holds up.
Yeah. No, absolutely. I couldn't agree more. So, do you have anything else for this movie?
No, not really.
All right.
I think just it's a good movie. It's a good movie.
It's a good watch. It's a good watch.
Yeah.
A bit long, but you could fast forward through the first 20 minutes if you watch this review, and then watch the rest of the movie, and it's fantastic.
Don't fast forward through this review. It's amazing.
No, you fast forward through the movie, not the review.
Okay, I just wanted to clear that up.
Yeah. Okay. Cool. Well,
I don't want to give anybody the opportunity to miss this.
Yeah. Well, I mean, fuck. I don't want to miss that. So
that's just six feet of pure sex.
With that said, for Corey, I'm Armando. This is Kiss the Reviews, and this was 1999's The Mummy.